Okay, I think I've got the the live stream up and running. So we're pretty much good to go. Just feeding cables across my desk so I can do this. So this is my first look at the Beluga in Flight Simulator 2024. So this is an built aircraft, licensed obviously to Asobo, and they included it with the simulator for some of the cargo missions. We're going to do a somewhat more realistic cargo mission with the aircraft this evening. We're going to go and fly the Beluga from Hawarden in Wales down to Toulouse in France. So Hawarden is where, or near, where they build the wings for the Airbuses. So the wings for the Airbuses typically come through this airport. So if we go and have a look around, you can see that there's a particular parking space here, which I've not been able to do too much research on this, but I'm guessing these huge units here are where the wings are made. Because there's this ominous parking space at Hawarden Airfield where there's only really room for one big aeroplane at a time, and there's a runway here where I'm guessing they take the wings off to the Toulouse manufacturing facilities to build them into Airbuses. So let's go and have a little look around the aeroplane while we're sat here, shall we? So this looks ominously like the windows are icing up, but I think it's just a texturing thing that's going on. So let me just go and check the volume. Hello, the Xbox is drifting. Xbox controllers are the worst built controllers in the universe. Okay, so yeah, so volume level looks good. I'll turn the simulator up for the moment. If it gets too loud, I'll turn it back down again. So let's go and have a look around the Beluga. So it's based on, this is the Beluga XL, by the way. It's based on the A330 airframe, with obviously some enormous modifications. So if you go and have a look through, I'm going to have a look around the aeroplane first, and then we'll go and dive through the wall of the aeroplane to the insides. But we're going to see it in a moment anyway, because I'm going to open the aircraft up to load it. So I'm going to make you sit through watching the loading happen. So it has much deeper wings than a typical A330 would have, obviously because it needs to carry this load. So it's not just an A330 with a fat body. It is actually markedly different. And it also has these enormous tails, obviously to help with longitudinal stability, I guess. So it's similar in some ways to some of the other giant aircraft like the Antonovs. But it's absolutely gigantic. But one of the huge advantages of the Beluga fleet is they can carry, obviously, well, this is what they were designed for, carrying parts of Airbus aircraft and for parts of the Ariane rockets, obviously. But I think I'm right in saying that until the 747, the giant 747 heavy lifter came along, these were used to carry bits of Boeing around as well, or they have been still. Okay, so if we go and jump through the wall up here, you'll see the insides are wonderfully modelled. And it's gigantic in here. It's a bit of a physics experiment gone mad, isn't it? So this is the insides of a Beluga XL. There's actually more storage underneath. So if you come down, I'm not sure if it's modelled in this version. Yep, you can see we've got more storage underneath as well, with more loading bays. So the aircraft is like a walking wardrobe, basically, or flying wardrobe. It's enormous, and you can see all of the mechanisms are fully modelled, and you'll see them animate soon when we open it up. So first things first then, before we even get anywhere near flying it, we're going to have to load the aeroplane. So let's go and press Shift and X, which will bring us back into the cockpit away from the drone camera. And we're going to go into ground, and we're going to open the front cargo. We get to watch this happen now. It's slow. But we have to do this before we can load cargo onto the aeroplane. So if we go and watch the mechanism, everything's animated nicely. So if we were to watch this from the ground, it's enormous, isn't it? It takes a little while for this to happen, so please be patient. Chug, 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 chug. I'm guessing they don't open these up on a windy day. Because with a sail that big, it would wreck the hinge, wouldn't it? They must have some pretty strict rules around the weather conditions around when they can open it. Or maybe they turn it away from the wind or something like that. Park it facing away from the wind, maybe. It's incredible, isn't it? So how much detail have they gone into with this? Far too much detail is the answer. There we go. So we've opened the door. So then we can go into cargo, and we can choose the cargo we're going to put inside the aircraft. So we're going to put some wings in because we're taking them down to Toulouse. So we're pretending these are the wings that were built here. And we can start the load. So if we press Shift and X, and we'll see, here's the loading truck. Specialist loading truck. So the wings get put on here in the factory, and it gets driven out here. So this all comes with the simulator. I didn't know this was here until today, until I started looking at it. So look at this, with it all... It's very cool, isn't it, all the animations. So obviously the driver of the truck. Imagine being licensed to drive this truck. So Martin's saying, who made this? This is the Beluga, Airbus Beluga XL. It's their heavy lift aircraft, and it's used to ferry bits of Airbuses around, because Airbuses aren't made in one factory. The wings are made in the UK typically, and the final assembly happens in Toulouse in France. I imagine, well, obviously the jet engines are made by Rolls-Royce, which are also made in the UK, obviously. But I imagine other parts of the aircraft are made at various factories around the world as well, so everything is brought back to Toulouse for final manufacturing. So now we've got the wings inside. Can we go Shift and X, and then we should be able to go back to ground and close the cargo door on the front again and lock our cargo in. So if we go Shift and X, we'll see this very slowly come back down. And hopefully while that's going on, we can go and get the airplane ready to fly. So it's very, very slow, obviously, at moving the door. So we're going to press Shift and X and press Shift and Space. So you can see the transport has disappeared. I'm not sure we can see the door from in here because it's all above us, isn't it? Okay, so normal Airbus, really, apart from the fuel pumps are a little bit different, but we go and put the batteries on, attach the external power, go and put the strobes on, nav and logo lights, arm the emergency lights, crew supply of oxygen on, master switch on for the APU, and then start the APU. Just wait for the APU to come up. We'll go and align ADIRs. I think I've got it on normal alignment speed, so it's going to take it a little while. But then we've got to go and do our routing anyway. So we'll go and go over to Simbrief. So I've got the route penciled in from where we are right now over to Toulouse. So if we generate the flight, and we've got the Airbus Beluga XL selected in Simbrief, I'll show you how I did that, because it's not one of the standard aircraft. If you go to this page, and I'll try and remember to put a link to this in the notes of the video, if you just search basically for any builds and the Simbrief profiles, you'll find it. So if you click on this, it will pop open a page in Simbrief with a custom airframe, and you can just save the airframe, and then it becomes available to choose. And they do that for all of their non-standard aircraft, so you can have accurate Simbrief profiles for them. Okay. So we've got our flight plan in Simbrief now, so let's go over to Navigraph and import it into Navigraph. It's going to be that one. And let's go and have a look at the flight plan. Landing runway 14 right. So it hasn't got the approach here. We want ILS 14 right. Okay, so that's coming into finals. So we've got all of the charts there we're going to need, which is great. We'll do the same thing in LittleNavMap just to copy it across so people see this one as well. So open the flight plan from Simbrief, download the flight plan, and create the flight plan. And there it is. And obviously it won't have that final ILS approach either. So show arrival 14 right, wasn't it? Let me just double check that again. 14 right, yeah. So we want ILS for 14 right. Was there a transition on it? No. Narek, unless there is one for Narek, no. So insert that. Okay. So there's our basic route for the evening. There's an interesting, I don't know whether this is showing this correctly, so let's go and have a look in Navigraph and look at this departure, see what it looks like. Oh yep, so we double back. Interesting. So I wonder how that's done. So we can have a read here. So SID, taking off runway, immediately after takeoff, turn right to Wrexham. Outside Manchester, climb to 4,000, passing, climb to 5,000, if no contact with Scottish, take up a right-hand orbit to Wrexham, and recontact Hawarden on previous frequency. It doesn't say anything about departing out to Nantes though. It's a bit of an odd flight plan, isn't it? So I imagine, do you overfly and come back over? Which one are we doing? We're doing Wrexham 5. but it's got no instruction about getting from there to Nancy, so maybe we do just do left turn and do it like a huge S to take on the rest of our route. This is the in-sim version of the Beluga, by the way. It isn't special in any way. So yeah, this is the in-simulator Beluga. It's awesome, isn't it? So, we need to go and jump round outside and take the covers off things. I forgot that. It's the 2024 version, isn't it? So, covers off the engines, covers off the statics. I thought, that's removed the pitot covers as well. We'll just have a wander around. Gives you some idea how big this thing is, doesn't it, when you walk around with the walk-around view. Because this is eye level. It's a shame they haven't got flashing lights on the ground power unit. Okay, shift and C will bring us back inside, or it will after a moment or two. I'm going off script this evening, so I'm just doing things as I think they should be. So APU is up and running. IR alignment in 4 minutes, so let's go do the flight planning. So if we go into the dashboard, we can pull the Simbrief flight plan. Simbrief ID not set, okay. It's a new aeroplane, isn't it? So in Simbrief, I need to find out what my ID number is. I can never remember it. 330725. So 330725, and press enter. Do I have to press enter, or can I just do that? Looks like I can just do that. And pull from Simbrief, and there's our flight plan. Airbus Industries 073. We've made up a call sign for ourselves. From now, I've forgotten the name of the airfield. It's Hawarden, isn't it? Yeah, from Hawarden over to Toulouse. And we should be able to then go to done ground and cargo, do payload. So pull that from Simbrief, apply the load to the aeroplane. Go to keep an eye on that. So 165, 165 tons, oh my word. And then sync the weather. 165 tons, calculate. It's not as heavy as I thought it might be, actually. So then, we need to go and send the performance calculations across, don't we? Send that to the FMGS. And then we can press... Actually, there's no shortcut for this, is there? No. So we're just going to do it from a funny angle, it won't hurt. So clear, 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 clear. Go to flight management. Go to init. Do an init request. Clear. IRS initialization is good. Wind is good. Go to the init page, go sideways, get the fuel, do the fuel planning. Block confirm. It's all good. And go to the flight plan, tell the aeroplane how we are departing now. So we're departing runway 04 on the Wrexham 5 standard instrument departure. So runway 04, Wrexham 5, insert. And we've got that discontinuity, Wrexham to Wrexham, it always does that at the end of the SID. And then we're coming into LFBO, or Toulouse, on runway 14 right on the Narra 8 Sierra star. So ILS 14 right, Narra 8 Sierra, insert. And we'll just scroll down and see if there's any discontinuities down at the other end of the flight plan. Nothing. So that's all looking good. We've done everything, haven't we? Oh, performance, sorry. Confirm takeoff data. So, flaps 1 and trim up 4.8, which we'll do once we've got the engines running. Get rid of the caution. We'll go and set up the FGCP now. So we'll go and put the flight directors on, which will allow us to use managed mode. What cruise level are we going to? 23,000 feet. We're staying low. Interesting. I wonder if that's a function of this cargo aeroplane, that it can't actually get to high altitudes. I don't know. I'm not even going to guess. So 23,000 feet. And that's all good. We'll go and calibrate the QNH for the local barometric pressure. Yeah, so it's turning it into a giant S-look to do the departure inside the aeroplane. Which is kind of predictable, I guess. Go and configure some of these bits and pieces. So, oh, that was interesting. That's already on in this version of the aeroplane. Put this on auto, put this on TA. So the question comes, do we want to use ATC this evening, or do we just fly it and so we can have a play around and look at the aeroplane as we're flying? Because it is pretty awesome, isn't it? Otherwise we'll just end up obsessing talking to ATC during the flight, I guess. So it'd be nice just to have a flight and talk about the Beluga. Okay. If we were going to talk to ATC, we would be called Beluga Cargo. That is our call sign. The Beluga XL is known as Beluga Cargo to air traffic services. So we're going to go and we've got the APU running. We can go now and get rid of the external power. So yeah, we're going to do tonight's flight without ATC just to keep it simple. And so I can go and have a cup of tea during the flight. We're going to go over to ground and get rid of the GP, the ground power unit, away from the aeroplane now. And we're going to go and turn on the APU bleed and turn the ignition mode to start, and then start engine number 2. We need to go and put the fuel pumps on now, otherwise nothing's going to happen. Well, it will happen, but you end up getting warnings and it overstresses things. So wait for the engines to come up, or engine. So we can see that happening outside. Engine number 2 is spinning up. This is not the sim beta. I always fly the normal version of the sim. I never use the betas. Well, I haven't done so far. Okay, 51, and it started. So start engine number 1, and we can go and start working on the other bits and pieces. So predictive wind shear is in place. We can arm the ground spoilers. We can put flaps to 1, and we can go and set that trim up 4.8. So it's about there, probably. Or maybe there. Okay, so we got nav accuracy upgrade, which probably means that the if we go and have a look, yeah, obviously because these are switched on, that means we've got the inertial reference system up and running. So that's all good. So we can go back to flight plan now. I've set flaps to flaps 1. Engines are still coming up, just about there now. So we can now go and turn the start system to norm. Ground spoilers are armed. Go and put the taxi light on. Oh, we should have had the beacon light on for the engines. I always do that recently. I didn't used to forget it. Seatbelt signs on, we have no passengers, but you never know. No smoking sign can go to auto. Again, we've only got the crew on board. I guess we could have some engineers in the back. So, we are going to attempt to turn this around. We could push back all the way across the airport, but we're going to try see what the turning circle is like on this thing. Because this is going to be a real struggle for the real thing as well. Oh, it's got a fantastic turning circle. You would imagine it would have. Because although it looks this big, it's mostly empty, remember. So Willem is saying the internet is broken. Not for anybody else. It's fine for me here. So let's just go and have a look at the airfield layout. So we're taking off runway 04, so we need to backtrack along runway 04 and then turn around. So we're going that way. Oh, first bug. The nose wheels are turning the wrong way. So who wants to let a Sobo know? Or any builds? We did put the taxi light on, didn't we? Yes. So it's just waiting for auto brakes to go to max, and then it will do the cabin signs, and then we can do the takeoff config test when we turn around at the end of the runway, and then we should be good. It's a monster, isn't it? So we're just going backtracking along runway 04 here at Hawarden, then we'll turn around and get on our way to Toulouse. It's even got a painted line for us to follow, look, to do the turnaround. Okay, and turn head tracking off for a moment, and then go and turn on the landing lights and put the nose lights to take off. Don't think we need the wing lights. The APU can come off actually, we've finished with it, haven't we? As I said, I'm doing this without the checklist I would usually be using, so I think everything else is probably good to go. Just going to double check. So we got everything, is just waiting for the takeoff config test. And that's come up normal, which is great. Okay, I'll be ready. Shall I just take a screenshot for posterity? So park and brake off. Look at that immediate right turn takeoff. So flaps are 1. Keeping an eye on the indicated airspeed ribbon. Let's get it on the centre line. And we're up, gear up. Autopilot on. Leave it on toga as far as I can. Okay, so back to climb. Not retracting the flaps just yet. I'm just aware of these tight turns. That's a monster, isn't it? Sorry, another screenshot required. Okay, flaps can come up now. It's going to gather a little bit of speed now. As we come through 6,000 feet, we'll need to switch to standard barometric pressure. Did I put the landing lights on? Yes, I did. Double thinking myself now about everything. We don't need the ground spoilers anymore. So it's climbing at a rate of knots, like nearly 4,000 feet a minute. The cargo load we've got isn't going to be a tremendously heavy one, because it's aeroplane wings, which are light by design. So we're not dealing with a heavy load, therefore it can climb like crazy. It's very, very powerful. There we go, we're getting the standard barometric pressure call out. So next thing is landing lights off at 10,000 feet. So we're heading into the cloud. I wonder if we're going to get any warnings about temperature. So I wonder if we get ice detect warnings showing up. Hopefully not. So if not for the weather, we would probably be able to see your house. Just reading your live stream comments there. The weather's pretty awful, isn't it? Look, we're just coming out of the top of the cloud base. Oh no, we can see. So if we have a look on the map to find out exactly where we are, we're just coming over the top of, Wrexham. So behind us, down there, is Wrexham, I guess. I guess if you live in Wrexham, you're probably used to seeing these belugas leaving from Hawarden. Okay, we're up through 10,000 feet already, so landing lights off. And seeing as we have no passengers to speak of, we can probably go and turn the seatbelt signs off as well. Should we pull up the OFP on the screen? That's a monster, isn't it? And if you remember, I put it back on the drone camera so we can come over and have a look at it. Inside, we've got the wings of an Airbus from the factory that makes them. We're taking them down to the assembly facility at Toulouse, so if we go and look inside, there's our Airbus wings that we saw loaded a few minutes ago. It's very cool, isn't it? Funny, isn't it? Look, the emergency exit is the window. Testing out my drone flying skills here. I want to see if the wings wobble. They certainly flex. Look at that flexing. That's awesome, isn't it? Just bring the camera down. Very, very cool. So Willem's asking, can you unload with buttons in the flight deck? I don't know. I think it's all done in the tablet. So if we press Shift and Shift and X, and then back in the cockpit, all of the controls are done either with the ground controls to undo the doors, and then obviously it's all animated. And then you have the cargo options. So you have to obviously open the door to load or unload. But yeah. Good fun. So we're on our way to Toulouse. I have rewound time a bit, so we should hopefully get an evening landing in Toulouse. Otherwise it would have been dark. We would have been taking off in twilight and leaving and landing in darkness, so we wouldn't have got to see any of the countryside. So I thought that would be a bit of a shame. Let's have a look and see how everything's doing. It should be fine. It's an Airbus after all. We're only going out to 23,000 feet. That's the big surprise for me. The flight plan. Yeah, initial altitude 23. I wonder if we go and ask Gemini what. Let's do this on a window so it's not taking up all the screen away from you. What is the ceiling altitude of the Airbus Beluga XL? 35,000 feet. So it can't go that high. I guess it might need the thicker air to generate enough lift on the wings. It's not about efficiency with this thing, is it? It's about generating lift to carry the load. I love the diagram there. So you've got... There is a cabin behind the cockpit then. Should we go and have a look? I didn't realise. Oh my word. Okay, time to get nosy. Are we going to have to do this with the drone camera by the look of it? Shift X is the drone camera. Is it going to allow me to move? Yes, it is. Shall we wait until it straightens up? This is obviously part of the... I'm hoping this is part of the flight plan. Yeah, it is. So let's increase the range on the navigation display so we don't get a fright like that again. Okay. Shift and X. I'm just waiting for the aeroplane to stabilise before we go inside it. So I'm just going by the flight plan altitude, Willem, sorry. So this came out of Simbrief. So there is a ladder then. So there are some passenger seats. So it can carry a few passengers. I'm guessing then this doorway goes out. Okay, yeah. So there's another door in the bottom of the aeroplane now, look. Coffee machine. There's another door up here that comes up into the storage. And around this side, another door, there's the toilet, I guess. They haven't modelled that, have they, now? Yeah, there's a void here, look, in the model. Obviously above here is the main storage area. Very cool. So there's the trapdoor down. Whoa. Helps if you can control the camera. So that was that door there. We are still... Okay, something's gone wrong with the aeroplane here. The autopilot's come off. Oh, so-and-so. Let's go direct to... I probably pressed one of the buttons when I was controlling the drone camera. Let's go direct to Dizit, I guess, to clear it up without causing too much havoc. Direct to Dizit and flight plan insert. And the aeroplane will do that without causing too much havoc. I think when I was fighting with the drone camera, I accidentally had the external view where the Xbox controller was controlling the control surfaces, and when I moved one of the sticks it cancelled the autopilot. It took it as a joystick input. Let's have a look at the flight plan again. It's saying 229. That's 22,900 feet. But there are no other altitude constraints. And to be honest, as I highlighted in the ATC video the other day, flight plan altitudes don't really mean very much. Certainly not for cruise and for climb out, because ATC can override them. And they may instruct you to fly higher or lower, you know, as need be for other traffic around. For a bit of fun along the way, if we wanted to, we could take it higher. I mean, if we really want to, we could open up say intentions and go to center and start a flight plan. Or, you know, or take them from here. My only concern with doing that is then we end up having to do all the handovers and I don't get to go make a coffee. So yeah, there's our deviation from the flight plan. Look, we're just coming back in for a Dizit and then we'll straighten back up. That was while we were wandering around inside. As I said, the autopilot had kicked off because I didn't realise I was in the view of the outside of the aircraft that meant the Xbox controller was actually controlling the control surfaces, and it cancelled the autopilot. So yeah, looking at our Simbrief flight plan, this only took us up to an initial altitude 23,000 feet and held it there basically, with nothing further on the plan. On this, you're right actually, yes, just reading it, but that's not until Telba 290. Yeah, you're right. Where is Telba? If we go into the controls in the simulator get in your way sometimes, don't they?
Ground control, FTX 223, flight level 150.
FTX 323, London control identified. FTX 323, London control, descend and maintain flight level 100.
Descend and maintain flight level 100, FTX 223.
Interesting. Was Telva back here? Yes, it was. So we could be at 290. But as I said, they don't really count for very much. Every flight I've done with ATC recently, they've instructed me on climb out to go to different altitudes than the flight plan said. So we'll take it up to 290. So this would be a good test actually if we do go and get say intentions involved. We're joined onto centre at the moment, so let's go and give them a shout and tell them who we are. So as far as the simulator is concerned, we are Beluga Cargo 073. Centre, Beluga Cargo 073 with you, climbing to flight level 290 as filed to Toulouse. They may give us a transponder code.
Beluga Cargo 73, London Control. Roger, continue climb flight level 290. You are not under basic information service. State your request if needed.
London Control, Beluga Cargo, requesting flight following to Toulouse.
Beluga Cargo 073, pass your message.
Requesting flight following IFR to Toulouse on flight plan as filed. Beluga Cargo 073. I wonder if you can do this halfway through a plan. I've never tried it.
Beluga Cargo 073, basic information services on request. Squawk 6352 and ident. Beluga Cargo 073, identified, basic service, QNH 1008.
Copy QNH, Beluga Cargo 073. So, it's interesting, isn't it? I don't think you can start a flight plan halfway through with say intentions by the look of it. It's going to do the handoffs, but it's not going to take much notice of the flight plan. So Captain Sasha is saying, do other planes in the area hear your flight intentions comms? Yes, say intentions. It depends on your options that you've chosen. You can share your transmissions with the world. So a second or two after you've said it, they'll hear it.
1152, request climb.
Also, there's the option in say intentions to
Skyway
fill.
1152, climb and maintain flight level 280.
There's the option where you can fill dead space.
280, Skyway 1152.
So anything that gets
Skyway
said by
115,
pilots, they have the option of
climb and maintain
allowing.
flight level 240 when you
Let's
get a
wait for
chance.
them to shut
Thank
up.
you.
You have the option of allowing say intentions to cache conversations, and then they will play it back on dead space for all pilots in the area. And you have the option even to say, I only want to hear things that happened nearby while I'm flying along, or let me hear everything. So something I discovered just recently that I didn't know about for say intentions. If you go to sayintentions.ai on the web, and you go to more, and you go to the live flight tracker, this shows you all the people using say intentions. So if we go and zoom in, you will probably see ourselves. Is that us? Yep, AIB073. So we're coming down over the south of England. But if you want to, you can do. You can switch on the radio scanner, and you can hear everything that's going on at the area you're looking, which I think is cool. So if we turn this on.
Piper uniforme, kilo, alpha. Contactez Bordeaux Contrôle sur 125 décimal 79.
125 décimal 79, Piper uniforme, kilo, alpha.
Speedbird 93, Heathrow Tower, runway 09 left, with 070 at 8, cleared for takeoff.
And you can see them lighting up, the ones that are communicating.
Descend and maintain 8,000 feet for United 25. And direct ICO down to 2,000 and clear for the ILS runway 28 approach.
Anyway, so yeah, the flight tracker, I didn't even know this existed until very recently.
Information India is current. Clear
Very, very cool. Anyway, I'm going to put that away. Otherwise we'll end up just playing with that all night. So yeah, Say Intentions is absolutely turning into a monster. It's such a great add-on for the simulator. But as I said, I'm going to turn it off because we didn't start the flight with it, it's not going to do proper IFR flight following because we didn't file with clearance or anything like that. So There may be a way of doing that, of shoehorning it in to get it to do mid-flight IFR coverage, but there's some fantastic stuff coming from Say Intentions in the near future to do with it populating the airspace with accurate AI aircraft following real routes, and you'll actually be able to hear them talking over the radio as well. And also, because it is generating them and taking notice of them, it will sequence you with the other aircraft in the airspace, so it will be commanding speed changes or altitude changes or whatever it needs to do to keep separation. So yeah, I'm watching that as well, by the way, on the live streams. I've just got it on managed mode, look, and it's really pushing it, isn't it? The flaps are retracted. This is a problem with all of the Inibuilds aircraft at the moment. I don't know if it's a sim problem that's causing it or an aircraft problem, but they're always about 15-20 knots too fast, compared to the target airspeed. They're right on the limit of overspeeding, aren't they? That's creeping up. It's going to go. It's going to warn it. There it goes. Overspeed. And it's switched off again, look. Should we see if we can go managed mode, selected mode, and take it down a bit? What is it doing with the airspeed target? Let's take it down to 240, or Mach 0.64. Maybe selected mode, it'll be a bit happier than managed mode. Or maybe it might behave itself. So, power is coming back up. Yeah, so selected mode seems to be fairly accurate. Managed mode isn't. How strange. I noticed that when I've been doing some of those beginner's guides recently, that the Inibuilds Airbuses tend to run a little bit fast on managed mode for some reason. So, if we have a look at the full flight plan, we're going to be a while. We can get an ETA on here, can't we? So in the aircraft thinks it is 20 past 6 at the moment. And we're looking, so in about an hour and 10 minutes we should arrive at our destination. But we've got quite a way to go. So not even within range on the navigation display, on maximum range of top of descent. So if we flick down through here, we'll see top of descent in the display, won't we? There it is. Balan, Evpok, top of descent. Balan's here, look. Evpok isn't quite in view yet. So, for the route, so people get to enjoy it along the way, we'll leave it on a view like this. It's a lovely clear evening, isn't it? And we'll go window, open window layout, minimal. And we'll put this in the corner of the screen with something like that. And we'll go and hide the Windows taskbar. Automatically hide, that's the one we want. Okay, so I'm going to step away for a bit. I'll leave that on the screen so you can see where the aeroplane is and where we are, and see some of the landscape whizzing by underneath. We're about to cross the channel over into French airspace. And we'll see how we get on. Okay, so I'm going to nip off and make a coffee. I'll be back soon. Okay, I'm back. So, we're going to jump inside the aircraft and see how far away we are. So about 80 miles, 100 miles out from top of descent. So if we pull the range down, we can see about 100 miles out. So let's go and have a look at the flight plan and get familiar with what we're going to be doing. So at the moment, we are way out here at Ballan. The standard terminal arrival route is actually quite a short one. So our first constraint is below flight level 150 at Narak, and then above 8,000 feet, or flight level 080 at Fusap, and then turn in towards Toulouse. So let's have a look at the ILS for Toulouse. So we'll come in from one side, join the ILS at I014R, max 210 knots, 3,000 feet. This should be on the diagram here. There we go, look. So 14R is obviously 14 miles out, so that's why this is drawn in the way it is, look. And then, so 14 miles out, and then at 8 miles out, we join the 3-degree glide slope down to the runway. I presume it's 3 degrees, yes it is. So going for runway 14 right. Does this have the runway length in here? Possibly not. But we have got the decision altitude 688 feet if using the ILS for a straight-in landing. Let's have a look at the airport diagram. So there we go, there's the runway. So 11,500 feet long. That's a long runway. That's huge. Okay, so there's obviously where we join 14 miles out and then cruise in. Just double check that on here. The 14 obviously that's the runway, not the distance. So 10.9 miles, 014 right, IO14 right. Oh, 11.3. There we go. Being blind. There's still plenty of time though. Just getting familiar with the instructions here, so we can go and put our destination data in. So clear. Go to performance. Actually, let's go and check the flight plan, make sure there's nothing missing in here. No, it's all looking good. Performance, cruise, next phase. So let's put the destination data in for Toulouse or Blagnac. And then open the airport, go for the weather, and we want the 1005 hectopascals. Temperature is 7 degrees centigrade, so we have got a risk coming down through the cloud. It might get colder in the next few minutes. So magnitude and wind is 180 and 4. And yeah, the radio. Have we got radio? Or whoops! Oh, I always do that. Can we straighten this back out? Oh dear, it's still tilted, isn't it? It's not going to have it. Like, it's not going to straighten it back up for us. There we go. Yeah, decision altitude 622 or 200 by radio essentially. So if you go and check the airfield elevation, you find. Yeah, it says it up here as well. Look, airport elevation 499, 500 feet. The runway is 488 feet. So yeah, so 200 feet. So if we're using radio, it's 200. If it were Barrow, it would be 600. Okay. So that's all looking good. We're using full flaps, so that's fine. We're still 80 miles out from top of descent, so we can go and relax for a bit longer. We've got everything ready. We'll double check the numbers in case it does start to get really cold really quickly. Now the sun's going down. Hopefully not. It's a monster aeroplane, isn't it? So let's go and move the camera around. So back on the drone camera. You're nosy at some of the details of the airframe. It's very cool, isn't it? The way the light works and the way it's cast on different objects nearby. Very, very clever. So, what resolution are the labels? They are remarkable resolution. That's madness, isn't it? Just with the heat haze at the back of the engine. Very cool. So Paul is saying hi in the live stream chat. Hi Paul. So we are nearing Toulouse. We're probably about 60 miles out now, I would imagine. We'll go and have a look in a moment. Why has it got two registration numbers? Because the simulator isn't clever enough. So I have got a registration in the simulator, which is Golf Juliet Bravo Echo Kilo, but the actual livery has got the real aircraft registration, which is Foxtrot Whiskey Bravo X-Ray Lima. And yeah, the simulator's not quite clever enough to do that. Or the livery maker didn't think of it. Let's put it that way. Cool, isn't it? It's a monster of an aeroplane. So, Paul's saying, would you consider doing an off-the-wall video on the airship? I haven't actually looked at it at all yet. So, yeah, I would love to. Okay, let's go and have a look. Shift and X takes us back in the cockpit. We're about 40 miles from top of descent. So if we reduce the range on the navigation display, we can see it coming. And we'll be descending very soon. So you can see we're using selected speed mode instead of managed because it wasn't holding it properly. So I'll show you what happens. We'll go back to managed speed mode. I bet it will go beyond the target. It was right out on the limit of the airspeed, on the edge of overspeeding earlier. Yeah, look, it's doing it again. Seems to be a bug with all of the INI-built aeroplanes at the moment. They all do this. Or all of the ones that came with the simulator for free, I should say. I'm not sure about the A350, I've not tried it. I've not tried the A300 either, or the A310. But the A320 and A330 both do this. So it will go right to the edge of overspeed before it comes back off the power. So look, it's just drawing the engines down now. It's right on the edge of overspeeding. Bizarre, isn't it? I guess we need to turn some lights on in the cockpit because this is going to get dark over the next few minutes. So we've got the dome lights over here. They're on bright at the moment, which is interesting. Do they actually work? Apparently they don't. We would see a difference in that. That's thrown me slightly actually. I was expecting those to work. What about the panel lights? So they should be back here. No, they haven't put the knobs in for the panel lights. So we got the pedestal flood is over there. You've got the integral lights already on bright. Do they actually work? Yeah. So the integral light is the backlighting of the signage. The main panel floodlighting, let's pull this out. So you can see that lighting up, that's working. And we've got the lighting here of the primary displays, they're fine. We could turn them down a bit maybe. Now it's getting darker. Same for the eCam screens, turn them down a bit. And same for these two. And then for the integral and the backlighting of displays, the knobs are just underneath the glare shield. The overhead looks fine. We're getting there. And we've got the overspeed look, only for a second or two. So we're going to go back to selected speed. Look at that. It's gone way off the chart on the Mach number, so it's almost going to Mach 0.99. It was trying to get there and it was hitting overspeed and trying to stop at the edge of overspeed then. So its target airspeed was way higher than it should have been. That's what's been going on. So we'll just give it a bit of a window away from that, so when we start to descend it gives it a bit of leeway where it might accelerate before it starts to moderate the descent rate. So let's go and see. There were some constraints on the way, but the vertical navigation built into the Airbus should manage that for us. So we need to get at least to 3,000 feet. So if we go and set that as a target altitude, obviously we're not going to start descending yet. So we won't command it yet. But we're going to set a target of 3,000 feet. And then when we get to top of descent, we'll go managed mode to come down. So should we go and check those approach numbers again, just to make sure? So if we come back out of here and come back into the weather for Toulouse, 184 knots, that's still the same. What is the transition altitude here? It's 5,000 feet, that's correct. Temperature 7 degrees, it's dropped to 6, yeah, it's getting colder, look. And QNH 1005 is still the same, but the temperature is slowly dropping. I'm guessing as the sun goes down. So coming down through the cloud, there is a risk. If it's about 3 or 4 degrees, isn't it? If you're within that ice conform. We'll see how we get on. So you can see we're about 10 miles out from the top of descent now. You should see it on the legs page, or the flight plan page, sorry. Yeah, top of descent, look, there it is. 6 miles to go. So we could go early, it won't hurt anything. So let's command it. Manage mode, descend to 3,000 feet, it will follow the constraints on its own. So it's heading down to 080 immediately, which should comply if we go and look at the... So yeah, there we go, look, that's as low as it can go, above 080 at FUSAP. So it's confidently predicting it's going to get below 150 or 15,000 feet at Narak. Let's see what it does then. So there's Narak. If we go and put the constraints on, we should see that. So below 150, above flight level 080. Interestingly though, look at the... If we were to say 080 on here, I wonder if the green banana would turn up. The Airbus doesn't have it, does it? I don't think it does. If we go and... No, it won't. It shows a little dot at the point it thinks it will get to the altitude. It doesn't have the banana. Okay, we've got a few minutes yet, so we can go and enjoy the view. The Beluga. I don't know why I've not flown it before. So when we land at Toulouse, we'll obviously light the aeroplane up like a Christmas tree and open the nose and get the cargo back out. That should be good fun. Hopefully it animates taking the cargo out in the same way that it did loading it. So you can see the descent profile there. Where we descended a little bit early, we were ahead of the curve, but it's now matching it. Now the question is, can it hold it? So you can see it's managing the airspeed okay. So the engines haven't gone completely to idle. The weather is starting to affect us though. So we've got a 42 knot headwind at the moment, which is why we're not struggling to slow down. On yesterday's flight I had a tailwind all the way in, or most of the flight, and yeah, the initial descent had to run enormous amounts of spoiler to get the aeroplane to actually bring its speed down. Or to hold the profile, because obviously profile is more to do with ground speed. But if you've got an enormous tailwind, it's difficult to hold the descent profile if the wind gets up while you're in the air, so the aircraft doesn't know about it. Okay, you can see the airfield. 80 miles out. We're down to 22,500 feet now. We have to remember that we are on selected speed mode, so we need to bring the airspeed down to 250 soon. So just reading the comments there in the live stream, I think it's a bit unfair to point the finger at anybody being ahead or behind with programming the avionics, because Builds obviously have been working on a shifting platform with 2024. So the avionics, the aerodynamics have changed enormously in 2024, making it more accurate. And therefore the guidance systems have had to be rewritten to take account of that. And Builds have been brave enough to be out there first, with everybody taking a swing at them for when things don't quite work as you would wish. But they're working independently of Asobo, remember, so there's a whole communication problem there, with where Asobo might be making braking changes to things or tweaking things that would cause other things to break outside of the simulator. Which is why we see a lot of I have no doubt that's why we see a lot of the problems that we do in the sim. Let's turn the brightness of this down, by the way. And the brightness of the screens down there. The screen's a bit bright, isn't it? Yeah, it's easy to judge a new aircraft in a new sim against an aircraft that's out for several years in a sim that's been out for several years, and a sim that's nowhere near as accurate as the new one. When you start to add up all the different things the sim is doing or trying to do, it becomes just more and more mind-boggling, really. So we're going to bring this down to 250. We're going to use the spoilers to allow it to do that quickly and easily. Falling below or behind the descent profile, look, where it's lifting the nose gently to bring the speed down. We're helping it with the spoilers, but it's not doing a great deal. So we've got the spoilers out, as you can see. So seeing as we're at night and we want to show off, let's go and put the lights on. So nav and logo is on 2. We'll put the wing lights on. Ah, well, the wing light's not come on maybe unless it's... Maybe they'll only work when it's in landing configuration for you to be able to see. Oh, no, they should be on though. Maybe they just haven't modelled them. Okay, we're at 250 knots and we're on profile, and we can bring the navigation display range back down again. Let's go and put the co-pilots on the same range, and let's go and check the ILS on the nav radio before we get anywhere near it. So 117.7 for Toulouse and 142 degrees. So let's go and have a look. And nav, that's a difference. It's not showing, is it? 110.7. Oh, here it is. Sorry, I'm looking at the VOR. 110.7, 142 degrees. 110.7, 141 degrees. Close enough. Coming down to 15,000 feet, so we're going to be below 15,000 for Narak, which is what we needed. Dan is saying in the live stream comments he feels it's a little bit overwhelming getting into simming. It depends what you go and watch or what you aspire to do. The result of me messing around in the big jets and flying routes and doing ATC and all the rest of it now and again is the result of several years of learning. This isn't my day job either, so this is very much a hobby, and I'm not a real pilot, so I don't have that real world all day experience to draw on. Yeah, there's nothing. I think that a lot of people can be intimidated by thinking, how am I going to learn all this stuff? You don't have to. The sim has a raft of tools. I tend to do everything by hand, starting from cold and dark on the, switching the plane on and configuring it. You don't have to do any of that. I do it because I have an interest in wanting to know how to do it. But you don't have to do any of it. You can shortcut to getting the aeroplane up and running. And yeah, there's nothing to stop you flying around in Cessnas and stuff and doing the basic training. And that's how I started out. So I actually deliberately went about 18 months ago and bought some flight training books, real world ones, and worked through them with the simulator. I might do it again because I've not done it in 2024, and obviously the flight modelling has got so much better in 2024, particularly for certain planes like the 172, which is what most students would be looking at doing. I think it would be great to go and do that. Working around doing circuits and doing crosswind landings and standard rate turns and all the rest of it. I think they're fantastic exercises to do. No matter what stage you are in your learning, going back and doing them is valuable. There's a fantastic set of books available from a company in the UK called Poulies. I'm sure you can get similar books elsewhere in the world from your various flight training places. But Poulies do a fantastic kit that they sell to real-world student pilots, which comes with all the books on, aviation and communication and navigation, everything you would want to cover. If you search my channel, there's a video specifically on it. While we're on descent, I've just got about enough time to go find it. So if I go to johnbeckett.substack, and if you search my blog for Poulie, there we go, unboxing the Poulies fixed wing pilot's starter kit. And you can see there it is on my desk at home, and I'll just quickly whiz through it. You can see me pulling out maps and books and charts and all sorts. You can see technical books, navigation books, so on and so forth. It's a fantastic kit, and it will teach you so much more than just googling around, because it's all presented in classroom format. You get a flight computer as well, an old analog one. I'm going to do a video on that soon. It is fantastic. It's really interesting to see how things are done. So we're just coming down to 10,000 feet. So we're at 250 knots, which is perfect. So landing lights go to on. And we're still targeting 3,000 feet on our descent before we turn in towards Toulouse, which is going to be out over there somewhere. See it in a moment if we're going from outside. You see the landing lights now on. God, it's pretty, doesn't it, at night? It's quite a light evening. Look at that. Amazing. This is 2024. This is stock scenery in 2024, just with the live weather this evening. And the Beluga, which is one of the stock planes that comes with the simulator, which I'd never tried before, so I'm giving it a try. We're flying into Toulouse, which is the real route that this plane does. It flies from Hawarden, where it picks up the wings from the manufacturing facility, and takes them to Toulouse for final assembly on the Airbus construction line. So let's go and reduce the range again. We're going to bring the speed down now to 220 knots. Whoa, overdid that a bit. So speed's coming down okay. I guess we've got an enormous an aerodynamic lump above us that's helping us, isn't it? I hadn't thought about that before. So we have to be above 8,000 until we get to Fusap. And then we'll start descending, look for 3,000 feet to join the ILS. So there is an element of knowing where things are. Landing system button is there, look, in the dark. So flying in the dark is a bit of a fun one with the Airbus, because I don't think there's a light that will light up the glare shield buttons, or the panel, you know, where the FGCP is, Flight Guidance Control Panel. So we're falling behind schedule on the descent, so I'm going to throw the spoilers out for a bit and let the airplane descend a bit more steeply. At 220 knots we can begin. Oh, we haven't got the reference. Oh, we have. I was going to say, the reference panel's over here, look. So we can go flaps 1. And we're coming back towards the descent profile. Off the spoilers again. Can we see the runway yet? Is that it over there, maybe? So am I ever going to do VATSIM? The only reason I've never done it on a video is I don't want people to get the wrong impression about VATSIM, because it's very common that you can't complete a flight with end-to-end coverage. And that is the major struggle with VATSIM, but that's about to change apparently. There's been some major announcements recently about that sort of thing. So let's go and, we need to go and get the, whoops. We need to go and get the Barrow done, so what was the weather? 1005. I need to concentrate for a moment. Please bear with me. Let's get the speed down to 180. and the reason for that is we want to go flaps 2, and that's 196 knots maximum. So we're just trying to get the speed down so we can get the flaps down further before we make the turn towards the airport, which is out there somewhere. So we're at 3,000 feet. Well, it says above 3,000, but that's fine for us. If we go and put the landing system lights on, we'll get the symbology, so we can see we're below the glide slope, and obviously the localizer is off to our right because it's there. So we're at 180 knots. Let's go flaps 2. Be fine for manoeuvring. So you can see the flaps extending out there. Let's have a look outside. Whizzing over people's gardens. And here we go, making the turn in. There's the runway, look. So let's bring the speed down. So what's the limit for flaps 3? 185 knots, which we can do now. Flaps 3. Should we go to head tracking now, so we can look around easily? So you can see there's here comes the glide slope, there's the centre line, there's the runway. So gear down. Should we go and watch that happen? Oh, let's go and put auto approach mode on first. If I can hit it. Otherwise we might miss the... That looks so cool, doesn't it? Okay, we can go and manage the speed now, so I'm just going to turn head tracking off for a moment so we don't have to flail around. Bring the range down on the navigation display. We could actually switch this now to a landing system mode. And there we go. So there's the localizer, there's the glide slope, which is the same as this really. But we can leave the co-pilot side on normal arc mode. So it wants spoilers to be armed. Flaps for landing. We're going full flaps now, finally. We're on the localizer, sorry, we're on the glide slope. We can see the puppy lights are green. So having never landed one of these, I'm going to turn the autopilot off and do it myself. So bear with me. So let's go shift. Why have we got a... Oh, that's the warning for the autopilot being turned off. So this is me now. You can see I'm waggling the wings. I'm going to leave the auto throttle on because it's handy. And it's very rare that an Airbus would be landed without the auto throttle. So hands are on the throttles, ready to pull them back for reverse.
1,000.
Should we put the... Oh, I'm not going to mess around with the switches. I can't get to them in head tracking easily enough. I was going to turn the nose lights on, but sometimes they can be annoying because they'll light up any mist in the air in front of you. A bit low.
500. 100 above. 2 minimum. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, reverse. Reverses aren't doing much, so I'm going to go full spoilers and wheel brakes as well. Okay, we're good. So the next question is, where do we go? I'm going to slow us right down. And we're going to go and have a look on the airport chart. So we want to come off down here, I think. Oh, that, or is it this one? I can't remember. I'm just going to slow us right down for a moment. I mean, we can always manoeuvre, but I looked at this earlier, and there's the... It's the Beluga. We've gone past it. It would have been that exit for the Beluga. We'll come back. We'll take off at Sierra 3. We'll come off at Sierra 3. I should have looked that up ahead of time, really. Okay. I'm going to turn off head tracking for a moment so I can do this, which is difficult to do in the dark. Want the taxi lights on, and then go back to head tracking. It's like being a typist while flying. Let's just hold short here for a moment and get our bearings. So we want to do an immediate right turn then. Okay. Landing lights can come off. And the strobes can go to auto, so they should stop lighting the earth up beneath us. And we're going to make our way to the Beluga hangars, where they offload their bits of Airbus. So, as far as I'm aware, these are the Beluga hangars. Let's have a look on LittleNavMap again. So yeah, Airbus Beluga is here, look. So these will be... If you put open window layout, default, if you put Google Satellite Map on, you can actually see the Belugas. Obviously, Flight Sim's putting some random planes in there. No doubt if somebody makes a decent version of Toulouse, there may be one available, I haven't looked. It will have belugas parked here. Because this is where they come to deliver. All these big sheds are Airbus factory. So, should we pull into this one here? Actually, no, there's somebody on each of these. Is there one further down? No. So we're going to surprise this guy. Touch his tail. Okay, parking brake is on. Let's go and put the dome lights on so we can actually see what we're doing. Oh, they don't work, do they? We forgot that. So I'm going to go and pull the weather back so we can actually see. Okay, so we should be able to get ground power. Toggle GPU, and then we can go overhead and we can activate it, and then we can shut the engines down. And there we go. And then we can start turning things off around the cockpit. So, fuel pumps off, oxygen back off, ADIRS back off, turn the lights off. We should have had them off straight away, really. It's interesting to see the things that haven't been implemented. Why they didn't do the dome light, I don't know. And then obviously we can go and turn all the power off. And we're golden dark. But I believe things will still work here. So we can go front cargo. Oh, this is going to be the wrong way round, isn't it? Let's do this the other way round. Can I reverse that? Will it? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is go Shift Z. And then... Now, let me get this right. Yeah, L will let us do this. And we'll shunt ourselves forward a little bit away from him. Okay, so you get anyone that didn't see this at the start, we get to see this. Actually, this would be nice to see this, do this at night, wouldn't it? So let's go back to live. So we're at night. Let's put some power back on and put some lights back on. And we'll go and put the... We'll just put the nav lights on. We don't need strobes or anything. So all I wanted to do is to open the front cargo light, cargo up. So it's going to take a while. So while it's doing that, let's go back to the drone camera. And can we... Okay. So here's our cargo we've been carrying to the Airbus factory. It should be around the other way, but there was an aeroplane in our way. I didn't want to mess things up. So So here's our cargo of the Airbus wings. I think they're A330 wings. On a huge frame to hold them steady. So it's lit up inside, look. How cool is that? Do we get any control over that, I wonder? So if I go back inside the aeroplane, engine covers, pitot covers, access ladder, equipment, interesting, access ladder. We'll put the pitot covers back on then. Or can we do that? Will it let us? No, it doesn't look like it. There's the bay lights, look. So we'll turn them right the way up and then come outside. Or maybe that was as good as it gets for the bay lights. Okay, what's that just came up next to us? Something just lit up extremely brightly. Interesting. Maybe that is the bay lights they're switching on. Ah, are they switching on coming down the aircraft? Powering up maybe. Okay, so that's open now. So we should be able to go back inside the aeroplane and do cargo and unload the cargo. So the tractor drives up with the frame and he lifts himself into the air. To take the wings into the factory. Let's do this on the external, the drone camera instead. So he's pulling up to the aeroplane. And then they're going to pull the cargo back out of the aeroplane, back onto the tractor, hopefully. Here it comes. How cool is that? And then I'm guessing he's going to back away from the aeroplane and it's job done. So the wings that we carried all the way from the production facility in Wales are now at Toulouse, about to be bolted onto a fuselage and have engines attached to them, I imagine. That's pretty cool, isn't it? It's lowering itself back down. And then it disappears. And then we get to go and close the front of the aircraft again. So, oh, I've got muddled up with what view I'm on there. And then we can go back to ground and close the front cargo door. So I'm not going to sit and make everybody sit and watch this all the way through the closure, but yeah, you get the idea. So that's the Beluga in Flight Simulator 2024. So the route we did today is the actual route that's commonly done by the Belugas. So there is a manufacturing facility in North Wales, and they do take the wings. The wings are built in North Wales, and they're taken down to Toulouse for manufacturing, you know, or for assembly. I'm just trying to look up the name of the actual factory. It's Broughton. Airbus Broughton factory in North Wales, and the nearest airport is Hawarden, where we took off from. So we'll just wait for this to close and then I'll shut the video for the evening. So I hope you enjoyed that. There's a 717 behind us. Interesting. I wonder if that's one of the ones that's in development. Whenever I see strange aeroplanes like this in the sim, I come and have a look at them to see how detailed the airframe is. No, that's only a simple one. Because you never know if it's going to be, you know, something that's on its way into the sim and it's been streamed in. But no, that's too simple. It's always worth having a look. Because I think there is a 717 coming, isn't there? There's certainly a 727 Classic on its way. And we're just about there. It's a shame there's not a clang noise when that locks down, isn't it? Anyway, I think we've just about covered that to death for today. So I'm going to go and finally shut the airplane down properly again. So power off, batteries off, and we can go and is there a way out through the bottom of the floor then? So we were looking at this earlier, weren't we? The various other cargoes you can put in, by the way, is an A350 fuselage, two A320 fuselages, and the wings. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So obviously I'm hunting around, having turned all the power off. It's like a haunted house now, isn't it? So I don't think there's a doorway down here. No. So that's a good question. How does the crew get out? What's their normal way out? Was there a way through this way? Yeah, there was. Ah, it is open. So we should. It's got clipping. So what we can do then, if we press... Yeah, you can see the ladder here, look. That's how the crew get in and out. That makes sense. Okay. I'm going to close it down there for the evening so we can zoom into the air and look around the city lights of Toulouse while we're here. So I'll just speed the camera up and pan around to look at the airport and the city. It's gorgeous, isn't it, in the sim at night? So there's all of the passenger gates over there, away from the Beluga hangar. There's the... Look at the size of the city. There's more gates the other side, look. Aircraft just landed. Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it, this sim? Very, very impressive. Okay, I'm leaving it there. So I'm going to shut down for the evening. Thanks ever so much for watching. Do click subscribe and do click the like button if you get the chance to. And if you click the bell in the top corner, you'll obviously get to see when I've put any new content out. If you really want to see when I've done stuff, go to johnbeckett.substack.com and subscribe via email. So anytime I put anything into YouTube, I also post it in here. Also, if I write up any procedures for any aircraft, they get posted into here, so you'll get to know about them. And this gets you an email, and it's completely free to join it. So there you go. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you enjoyed that. See you again soon.